Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. Over in the UK, it wasn't such a great weekend because we're talking about the phenomenal UK cyber attack on the National Health Service, the NHS. It's wrecked everything from details are sketchy at the moment, but government is of course looking into it. Reports say a 17-year-old broke down the security, alerted the authorities that it had been done, but apparently not enough notice was taken of it. So we have a result where doctors, whole hospital administrations are locked out of their patients. Ambulances just don't know where they're supposed to be. You can imagine it. It's a chaos. It's one of the things we'll be looking at today. And my guests are Tony Ofoyetan, lawyer, public affairs analyst, and also a security consultant, DG of International Institute of Professional Security. Thank you very much for coming on, Tony. You probably have some ideas on this aspect of security. And Monday Oyekachi Ubani. It just rings when I say the three names together. Monday Oyekachi Ubani. He's second National Vice President, MDA, and also a commentator on public affairs. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Certainly not a security expert.
No. But, you know, certainly interested in whole issues of governance.
That's right.
And this is where, Tony, let's start. We won't go into the details because it's a big subject and details are still unfolding, but just look at that implication. In the UK, apparently, you know, you would have thought that that kind of a thing would not be easy, developed economy, developed country and all of that. But the 17-year-old who is allegedly responsible for all of this says that the security systems are so antiquated, it takes just a basic level of approach to bring the whole thing to the ground. Now, my question for you is, hopefully we don't have any such thing to fear here. Our computerized systems are such that no 17-year-old kid is just going to come and wreak havoc with them.
Well, I don't think that is right because the world is going as it were now. And don't forget that there are some of these security equipment, arms and ammunition that are also automated. Warhead, for example. Then, of course, when you talk about contemporary modern jet fighters, there are basic information that are stored in the system when it comes to security. There are top security records also in the system. And there is no country in the world now that will not become jittery. Don't forget that you are talking of the hacking that has affected an average of 120 countries in the world, yes, and more than 200 sensitive mails already hacked. The implication is that Nigeria should not just sit down and say until it gets us. There's ethical hacking, there's unethical hacking. As it were now, you are talking of the unethical hacking. Then it means that the government should be able to gather together its ethical hackers and be able to study what happened in the UK and be able to say, okay, this was the reason why it happened. Some of them basically because of the antiquated antediluvian computer systems and the like, and because of the antivirus and the software that are being used, some of them are already outdated and all those stuff like that. I think it behoves on government functionaries to now begin to say, no longer say there is no fund or no budget for this.
Thank you.
It's imperative now that we do some level of upgrade.
Okay, you know, because Onyekachi, I was going to go there, that look, in these times when money is as scarce as it is, governments are going to be looking to be cutting corners. We just hope that we're knowledgeable enough to know that even though this is something of an invisible cost, it is absolutely indispensable, and usually it doesn't come cheap. So there's this whole question about oftentimes we try to save by things that can't be seen. So don't worry about that. We will pray about it.
God will take care of it.
God will take care of it. This should be a wake-up call for those in charge to know that we have to contact specific kind of experts, and it's going to cost a pretty penny. But what do you think?
I certainly agree with you. But unlike these developed economies, where virtually everything is automated, they have so much data. You know, up to now, we don't even have data of Nigerians. I mean, we're supposed to have basic information about Nigeria and all that. The really sector I'm afraid for is the banks. If there is going to be any damage by the hackers, and then the sector that may be vulnerable, maybe the banks, the central bank and then commercial banks. And that's why warning is going to those sectors to really ensure that they beef up their system. They should upgrade. They keep on upgrading their system.
Banks, yes. but even the intelligence services as well.
Fine, I agree with you. See, but what we're saying is that not much, like developed economies that have so much in the system.
You think we don't have as much in the system?
We don't have it, but we must also advise that whatever can be done in terms of making funding available,
yes,
to ensure that the system itself is fortified, you keep on upgrading the system and then beat these hackers to their game. Because what these developed economies do, that when there is any mistake or any knowledge that is new that may likely affect their system, they go higher, they upgrade and make sure that these guys don't get to them. And that's even the banking sector. If you remember, most times they can shut down the system and tell you that they're upgrading. They are doing that in order to ensure that they are not, used to the old system of doing things, because those old systems can be easily spotted out by these hackers, which is actually what happened with the medical industry, with the hospital industry in UK. It was a basic computerization system.
It was.
That was easily available for the hackers to
do.
And they said it took him less than an hour.
An hour.
And I'm sure the young man must have been playing, The Criminal Mind. I don't know whether you watched
one film. He said 3 months ago.
Yeah.
He said he had discovered this 3 months ago.
Beautiful.
And it was,
Criminal Mind, these guys, they are intelligent. It's a natural gift. They keep on, trying almost all these systems in the world. And when they find an easy way, they can hold that particular system or a country to ransom. And that's why you must not allow it.
Indeed.
Their listener is in total disarray.
Yes,
today, people who are going for hospital treatment are not aware whether they may be able to get the normal
operations
appointment. Because their system is very perfect. When you get there, they give you 2 o'clock appointment. Immediately you get there by 2 p.m., your name will pop up.
And you know what doctor you're seeing, what consultant
exactly, the consultant and all that.
And he knows he's seeing you. All of that
everything
has
collapsed. So there's going to be a lot
there were
of
pictures
confusion.
of ambulances. Up to 400,000 patients reportedly have been affected by this. The other thing is that, I don't know if any particular system is absolutely, totally securable. That is to say, if someone wanted to breach your system, since there are guys who can spend all the time that they need, they are hackers by definition, and I imagine that's what they do, I don't know. It means you have to go for the very, very best. Remember, Tony, as you well know, some hackers who have been apprehended, indeed prosecuted, and then jailed, on coming out, have got very, very lucrative assignments, appointments, now come on the good side, and now with your knowledge, see how you can prevent people like your former self from gaining access. So in other words, it appears that it doesn't work like that in the hackers way, where you've gone to jail, your record is spoiled, you're not going to get a job. On the other hand, if you've gone to jail for hacking, you probably are going to be a hotcake in the security industry.
Well, that is the cultural orientation of the white man. A white man sees something good out of every bad situation. There's always an opportunity.
Wait now, we black man.
Well, let's not go there.
Let's not go there. Okay, so I'm not to waste time.
But let me say something very quickly. Hacking is more or less like what you call kidnapping for ransom. But this time around, what you have done is to kidnap datas, is to withhold data that are very sensitive to you, prevent you from having access to it until you pay certain ransom. As it is now, the hackers are already asking for ransom for the companies whose cyber had been hacked into, basically to say, okay, give us X and Z amount of money and we'll release all the information to you. But Microsoft had come with more or less like a solution, as it were, now for an upgrade to companies that are affected. Is either you are ready to pay the ransom, or alternatively you are ready to find a solution. I want to believe that some of them will find a solution around it, some of them will pay the ransom quietly, and of course some may be able to, may just say, okay, whatever it is, let it go. But like we have rightly identified here, it's just a message to us. While this thing is being discussed now, is those that are in authority. NSA is a very sensitive, don't talk about banks.
Okay.
NSA is a very sensitive
let's
issue. It's the hub of national security.
Indeed.
And if the cyber of NSA is hacked into, just imagine what a terrorist can do with it.
And,
a DIA.
Exactly.
An NIA.
And I am convinced.
An SSS.
I'm convinced that we have Nigerians who are smart enough with their computers. Not just talking about you and I, the ordinary Mac guy, Windows guy.
About 3
not
years
talking about
ago,
that.
a young boy.
People who are developers.
No, about 3 years ago, a young boy hacked into one of these big banks, First Generation Bank, and removed 2 billion.
Okay, let's go on break because that is startling. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. We'll continue with this topic. Okay, welcome back. We're looking at the cyber attack on the NHS in the UK. It's wreaked their havoc in the system. I understand that 400,000 patients, that kind of a number across the country, will be going this morning, because the authorities have said do so, will be going for the appointments that they know they have, but it's like the whole medical system has been locked out of its data. It doesn't know, it's blind now. It's deaf and blind. Everything is being done longhand while experts are getting together. We hear that it was a young 17-year-old. It often happens like that. This is a new technology. It happens that there are these kids who are, prodigies. And we've heard of some of them actually in the past breaching CIA websites and all of that. No doubt this comes down to what experts call encryption, multi-layers, but for all of that, as it's going along, there are people following it. You put one blockage in there, they look for a way around it. So the game is a never-ending one, and we're concerned with the implications for us. Terror is right where it is. I'm sure there will be a computerized aspect to fighting this. I don't think any modern army exists now without a robust website. There must be things that must be done so that a commander can be in Kaduna, can be talking to somebody in Lasamaja. So all of that is there. I was saying before we went on break that we have those experts. We have computer experts. Our boys, that is Nigerians, and women for that matter, are making waves all over the world, developing, apps and that kind of thing. Now, I know it's a far cry from actually cyber hacking, but my guess is that we have Nigerians who can at least be consultants in the matter, and perhaps the time is now that it has happened to big, developed the UK. Where we did here, we're the big brother of Africa. We should be leading the light in there. But if you do this thing, can you announce that you're doing it? Is there not a security implication?
No, there's ethical hacking and there's unethical hacking.
When you talk about ethical hacking, how can there be ethical badness?
No, it's the word hacking itself may not be bad. If it depends on...
You're getting unauthorized access.
I will explain to you how it works. If the government of Nigeria employs you to gain access into the cyber of maybe an FBI in the US, you, to the government of Nigeria, you are an ethical hacker.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
To the government there, you may be an unethical hacker.
A criminal.
Now that is, yes, that is, it's just like
it's
when
just like spies. It's just like the spy network.
Espionage.
Spies go ahead and do illegal things, but...
Exactly. Now, it's done. At times, you could also create a website because you want to protect the website. You bring a hacker to say, break into my own website. In other words, you want to determine the vulnerability of your own website. So you give that hacker the right to break into your website. By so doing, you want to know how fortified.
The hacker is being like a test pilot.
Very well.
What the test pilot is to the airline industry.
You want to know.
See how strong
strong and the weaknesses. So that's why you hear the word ethical and unethical hacking. I'm
sure there's a lot of that, this kind of knowledge and concern going on in our country. I mean, this is 2017. Yeah. I'm sure there are experts.
Yeah,
of course.
In fact, when they develop these things, even all these companies, what they do is that they try as much as possible to try it, test it, to ensure that it's not vulnerable. As Riley pointed out, they will bring some experts who are actually with, try to, hack in, try to break in, whether they can. That is a way of ensuring that it is properly fortified, because before
that is assuming that you're using up-to-date software apps.
Yes.
One of the things that just came out of this was that the kid allegedly reported that look,
antiquated. It was antiquated.
These are antiquated systems.
British people, they could have been very careless.
Very conservative.
They are very conservative.
The system, if a thing is working, are you sure we're going to fix it just because a new version has come out?
But they will learn their lesson with regard to that. I mean, look at what happened during American election. Clinton's website was actually hacked by Russia. It was very easy. There's ongoing investigation now by FBI, which even led to the dismissal of the FBI boss now. And so what we're saying is that it has become a common thing that even countries now hack. Russia is being accused of hacking.
Russia is accused of having a hand in this as well.
In this one too?
Yes, I don't know. But
so they become experts in the world of hacking.
Mr. George has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you, sir, for calling in.
Uncle Yori, the UK should not come and tell us that they cannot treat our president because they don't have the information.
Oh dear.
It's a funny matter.
Oh dear, Mr. George.
Talking more seriously, Uncle Yori, it's an eye-opener. We don't take things that we should take serious. We don't take them very serious in this part of the world. If you go to Botswana, ordinary Botswana here, even Kenya, their ICT development is much more higher than that of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And yet it is we that have given birth to scientists that are best in America and the whole world. If banks were not using it to make money, they wouldn't have developed the interest in ICT, as it were. Look at INEC. For more than 10 years they've been on ICT. They have not been able to even put 50% of the voting population of Nigeria into their records. We should take things serious. Maybe with this development, Nigeria will now place more emphasis on ICT development.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. Starting off on a light note, I'm sure there is no problem in regard to the first part.
Because in the first place, it's not a patient.
It's
not of you.
No. That was just lightly put in there.
I'm sure. When there's a private.
Good one, Mr. George. That was
good.
But you see, the more you talk about it, the more scary it gets. If anybody should, because there are too many sensitive areas. The INEC website is another. You remember
aviation.
Thank you very much. Aviation.
JAMB is there.
So there are too many areas, and this is a wake-up call that those in authority just need to, quite frankly, shine their eyes well. Say, what? This happened there. Maybe it will be a good place to start to just review all of our systems and find out which one of them have not been updated in that world. Because we're not talking, in that world, they're not talking about Windows, Apple. It's much higher than that. It's what these people tap into. But we just need to be sure, because this is a specialist branch of the internet. And I don't know, you can't really make a thing absolutely, totally secure, but you can try you can just be sure that you're on the cutting edge.
I can only guarantee heaven. Heaven is more, but here on earth, as long as there is biro, there is always an eraser. I mean, pencil, there is always an eraser. Somebody will manufacture an eraser. So, but what you do, you keep on now, building a stronger system that will resist vulnerability. If you don't do that, any person can easily have access and then do some damage. And this is actually what has happened to UK.
Okay, Mr. Wanchuku calling in from Abakaliki. Good morning, sir.
Okay.
We're waiting for you, Mr. Wanchuku.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure talking to you this morning, and this is a very interesting.
You're hearing yourself.
Mr. Wanchuku, do us a favor. Don't listen to the echo feedback. Just start talking and don't stop.
Is it okay now?
I think we've lost Mr. Nwachukwu. Because you're calling from all that far away, Abakaliki, long. I understand you're still there. Mr. Nwachukwu, just start talking and don't stop. Don't listen to yourself. Go ahead. Let's give it a try. We understand that you're finally gone now. Just in case you get back again, this does happen sometimes. You know, I don't know why it happens in some cases and not in the others. Sometimes you get a call from the Netherlands and it's okay.
Maybe it was hacked.
And then again, we get a call from Abakaliki in our backyard here. And the thing is taking 3 seconds for you to hear us.
Tells you how developed you are.
Yeah, well. So we're looking at the potential danger that we hope our people, because this young chap said that 3 months ago, now I don't want them. So your systems are so porous and outdated, it's unbelievable. But as often happens, when you talk to government, you're very unlikely to be talking to one person. You're going to be talking to a committee, and in a committee of 6, 7, or 8, and maybe only one person sees it, and so on and so forth. So there's so many reasons why a mistake could happen. And this, we have a science agency, don't we?
We do. In actual fact, remember there was the launch of the NASAT, if I can remember, and it gulfed billions of dollars. And even with NASAT, as we speak now, we still don't have Nigeria.com.
Exactly.
And that is to tell you that, like he said earlier, that
But we do have .ng. We have .ng.
No, look, let's be realistic.
We have .ng. Okay, let me, sorry, sir. I'll come back to you. Mr. Wolabi from Egbeda has got on the line. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Yori, this is an interesting topic this morning.
Okay.
You see something about...
Are you in that area? Are you in Computerdom and all of that?
I know a little more about it.
Please go ahead with your comment. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Because what really happened is, this thing implies to Nigeria as well. Because why will they get all our information from all this new generation bank? There are some people that still hack into their software as well. They don't update. It's not only in UK. It's just an eye-opener for us here in Nigeria. We need to do something about it. They will text you, they even mention your accurate name about your BVA, that this thing. They're acting. This thing, they need to do something about it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Indeed.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olabi, for calling in. Okay, we've got to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And, you know, Tony Ofoyeto and Onyekachi Ubani in the house, we just couldn't let go of the UK NHS cyber attack that has rendered the whole system comatose, and the implications for other areas that haven't really experienced such an attack. This might just be a time to beef up your defenses. Okay, be that as it is, we can't, we wait for more and more to unfold on it, and maybe we'll take it from there. The other thing that caught our eye is, let's swing now away from that aspect of security to the anti-corruption, campaign that's ongoing. Now, remember, back in the day, there was the judiciary was very much in the eye of the storm in the whole war against corruption. One of those important Nigerians that were involved was a judge, Justice Ademola. He actually had to step aside from his job on the bench while he, was being investigated. Well, now, if you look at the latest reports say that, now that he has been discharged, on the 5th of April, Justice Jude Okeke of the Abuja High Court discharged Ademola and his wife, Olabowale, and Joe Aggie, S.A.N. This is all according to the front page of This Day this morning, who were charged with receiving gratification, diversion of huge sums of money, and illegal possession of firearms. Now, all of this, since it has been discharged, Justice Ademola has now written to the NJC to allow him to resume his work and start sitting on the bench. That application has been received. It hasn't been acted on yet. We don't know. Could it be because government through EFCC had appealed that discharge? But first of all, the very notion that Justice Ademola wants to go back on to his work, what do we think of that? Let me start with you, Onyekachi.
Well, of course, you have recounted the story accurately. When the homes of judges were invaded, and some of them were arrested and then released on bail, and they drafted charges against some of them. The NBA came out, spoke, and other people spoke also. Look, in the light of this, let these judges either recuse themselves, step aside for the meantime, pending the conclusion of the trial process. Now, that of Honorable Justice Ademola, and that of his wife and the senior advocate of Nigeria came to an end recently when there was a no-case submission, which was upheld by the court. And so he was discharged but not acquitted.
Okay, but if there was a no case...
Yes, because there was no trial. I mean, there was no trial on merit. It was based on no-case submission. And so he felt...
does that mean in law that there was absolutely no merit in the charges that were brought?
No. What the court did, when you make a no-case submission as a lawyer, I mean, when you have the prosecution, bring his witness, and after the witness has given evidence, you have three options open for you. Either you go on for no-case submission, or you enter into the witness box to give your own evidence, or you want to rely on the evidence of the prosecution. But what they did now was they entered into no case submission, and the court upheld it. There is no evidence linking, linking the accused person, and that the judge say, I don't want to speculate. Are you following me?
Yeah,
so based upon, he said a lot of things.
It's not his business to speculate.
But the EFCC has gone on appeal. Now, what Honorable Justice Ademola is saying, look, in the light of this, discharge, let me go back to my work. He has written that application, so it's being considered. But my only take in this is that since this matter is still on appeal, will it be right now for the CJN or even the NJC to ask him to resume duties when this matter has not been resolved? Now there is issue of those who are not even charged, who have not been asked to go back to their work. There is no charge pending. There is no evidence even against them. I mean, Justice Nguta of the Supreme Court has been charged. Some other persons have been charged to court, but there are others like Justice Okoro. His mother. Nobody has found any single evidence against him, and they have not asked him to go back to work. And all that. That's unfair. That's unfair.
Let me just say that to me, going back to work, as far as I'm concerned, does not have anything to negate the cause of justice. Because I'm sure he would agree with me that an appeal does not automatically act as a stay, as it were. So if the court preliminarily has said there is no link vis-a-vis the evidence produced by EFCC against this justice, it behoves on the cause of justice to allow this man to continue his work. If the appeal now says
because of the
otherwise,
technicality that an appeal does not necessarily act as a stay of execution
at all. So if the court, on the other hand, the Court of Appeal say, go back to trial, for goodness sake, it doesn't make any difference, as far as I'm concerned. Many of us had really been very reserved, and we have our reservation vis-a-vis the way EFCC carry out its operation. And the reason is this. You see, the law is the court is a court of justice based on evidence. It's not going to be looking at the newspaper report. The sensational news and all those things don't make any sense to a judge. It is the evidence you provide and produce before the judge that is going to rely on. And that simply means that, like other civilized society, before anybody is arrested, evidence has been concluded. They are sure that within a specific period of time, we are going to be done with this matter. But the other way is what happened in this part of the world. You arrest the accused person first, you start gathering evidence later. At times you push the accused person to court and you bring him before public court, and at the end of the day, if the court now say, I don't see anything here to show that this person is guilty, the average Nigerian does not understand the way the court works.
But the example you have just given is not necessarily referring to the particular case we're talking about.
No, if you
it's
remember,
just a generic example, right?
If you look at what happened within the sting operations,
yes,
you will look at the nexus of the sting operation. There are a lot of breach of even legality in the so-called sting operation. Those that carried out the sting operation against those that were carried it out upon. And these are supposed to be evidence you gather together to present before a court. You and I know that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? You cannot, as far as I'm concerned, foundation matters a lot.
Interesting perspective, Tony. But in the eyes of the ordinary person who is not legally trained, he sees things perhaps a bit differently. Yeah. He sees things from an ethical point of view. That some things have a right appearance.
That's right.
And some things have a dodgy kind of appearance. So that is the decision that is now going to have to be taken. That the Honorable Justice Ademola has sought to go back to his work. Yes. In other words, he wants to put this behind him. Yeah. And the society is being asked to consider the issue.
Because of the monumental corruption in the country, because of the evil that corruption has caused in the system, because of retardation in terms of growth that corruption has caused to Nigeria. I am not ignorant of the fact that Nigerians are baying for blood. Or when it concerns corruption, or somebody is accused of corruption or is arrested for corruption, Nigerians, they are all paying for blood. The man must be tried and all that. Please, I am totally in favor of fighting corruption. But we must also ensure that in fighting against corruption, that we must also follow due process. Because it is even corruption itself if you don't follow due process. I'm just telling you.
It must be according
to
the
rules.
Be
in accordance to it. So 100%. When we as lawyers say it, my friends out there get angry. They are so angry. They are so. Don't say it that way. Go ahead and cut off their heads. Don't even try them. Their own is that let them go to jail. Without even due process and due trial. And I said no. We must do it because one day you can be also a victim. Yes. You can also be a victim based upon this lawlessness. So we must not encourage. So there was this issue of those invasion and all the things that happened at that time. And people were really clapping and clamoring for the heads of those judges. And I say, let's be careful about this. We must also ensure that these guys should do a thorough job. Because if you don't do a thorough job, it is proved beyond reasonable doubt. The moment you get to court and you're not able to show by way of evidence linking this person to the crime, I can assure you that the judges will set them free and nothing will ever happen because that is the law. They are not going to apply sentiment. They're not going to apply your paper headlines.
One moment, please. Mr. Patrick, good morning. Are you there, Mr. Patrick?
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Patrick.
No, it's not Patrick. It's Chief Okeke, I said.
Chief Okeke? Who is on the line?
Chief Okeke.
Please go ahead, sir. Chief Okeke.
All right. Uncle Yori, I'm just tuning in now, and I can see your topic is fighting corruption in Nigerian judiciary. But I want to ask your indulgence, please,
well, actually, let me just, since you're just tuning in now, what we're talking about is Justice Ademola specifically has asked the NJC to allow him to return to work since the matter against him has been discharged. That is the specific thing we're looking at. If you want to talk about that. And, what you just heard the gentleman talk about now, the gentleman has said that, look, there are rules that they fear might have been infringed in leading up to the whole process, and so they are not too surprised when the matter was thrown out, and now Justice Ademola, consolidating on that, is saying, can I go back to work, please? Now, what do you think?
Yes, Uncle Yori, before I come to that, the issue, I want you please to allow me to ask one question to Barrister Bani, because I'm not, I don't have the opportunity to see him, and I don't have
quickly then,
number.
quickly.
All right, I just want to ask Barrister Bani, please, can you share your views on the recent judgment by the Apex Court concerning the governorship toss in Abia State.
Wait a minute. Sorry, Chief Okeke.
No, from Abia.
Wait. I'm not a judge myself. I'm not a judge myself.
But you have to be one now.
But I have to rule that question out of order. According to, as I've seen the senators do sometimes, that question is not in order.
Saraki did it.
Because it is going to take us down another path. Chief Okeke, I beg of you, indulge us. We're not going to be able to comment on that because it'll take our train of thought somewhere else. I hope you can understand. Now, you guys have explained marvelously how, first of all, Ubani took pains to say that I am totally for the fight against corruption.
Well,
everybody
yes,
is, but must be done according to the rules. So everybody knows the rules, no surprises. What you're saying, I can appreciate that. That's the way the law works. Sometimes they say the law is an ass.
It's an ass.
You know.
It is.
Now, the people went in, rightly or wrongly, found stuff. This stuff is ordinarily incriminating, but if you went in the wrong way, sorry, all that incrimination, the law allows it to become nothing. And this is the situation we found ourselves in if we are to believe the security operatives that accessed their abodes and came out with what looked like compromising evidence. Now, all of that, the lawyers are waiting and know that we have to go and check whether you even had a right to access in the first place,
You know,
right?
one thing
So,
that,
what is the
search.
ordinary person to think about these kind of, what they might consider shenanigans? So that I don't interrupt you, let me go to a quick break, and then so that I come back, and then you guys sort of explain it to us. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. High Court Judge Justice Adeni Ademola has asked the NJC to consider allowing him to resume sitting before his troubles came via the war against corruption and an action by the EFCC. Matter was discharged, and it was that discharge was appealed against by EFCC. And so here we are, the justice is now rightly asking that, can I go back to work? We're looking at the fact that in the minds of the public, circumstances as reported at the time seemed that maybe there's something here. But lawyers say, well, we'll see if there's something there. Let's look at all the processes and see if they were followed. Then and only then can we say there was something. Now, that's fine for lawyers and law school and passing your exams. But when it comes to real life, for example, I'm not particularly referring to this case, if you find a humongous amount of money under my bed, in the region of $500,000 for example, I think $1 million, for example.
$1 million. Okay,
$500,000 million. I know you have that one in your back pocket. That was a slip of tongue.
$500,000.
It's in your back pocket there. If you have $500,000, for example, right-thinking members of society might think that it's money you're hiding away.
No, but that is even contrary to the Money Laundering Act. The law has specified how much you should have at home at any point in time, if it is more than 5 million.
Yes. So the ordinary man is watching all
of
this.
On a serious note,
on a serious
note, sir, if you have more than 5 million at a time in your home, cash, that is clearly contrary to the Money Laundering Act itself. So you go in for it, it's an offense.
Yeah.
But if you have 500,000, 1 million, and all that, you're within the law.
Okay.
So it is what did they charge them for?
We'll find out
and
about that.
And that is important.
That is very important. Mr. George, you called in a second time today. Good morning again.
Yeah, sorry, Uncle Yuri.
No problem.
If I'm offending your rules. The issue at stake is also very critical.
Sure.
I'm not. The two guests you have this morning are both lawyers, and the body of lawyers, that is the MBA. I remember what they said when these judges were arrested. They were the very first to raise their voices against it. It was wrong. Why should you do this? It was when the reaction from the public was so pressing that they now issued a statement to support. So I'm not surprised at the position that they are taking. Are they saying that judges have rights to hold hundreds of millions of naira in their homes, and that is not sufficient evidence, even though they cannot prove where they got the money? I don't understand what the gentlemen are saying.
Yes.
The truth of the matter, Uncle Yori, is that the judiciary have seemingly made up their minds that none of those judges will be convicted. Even the CGN himself publicly said that there is no corruption in the judiciary, that we should come and prove to him that there is corruption in the judiciary. And if you see the trend that these cases have been going, it's like the justice system is dealing with the issues with a mindset. Truth must be told. How do you tell me that somebody has millions, hundreds of millions in his house that he cannot explain, and it is not evidence?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling.
Let's put him right. It's important we correct him. You know, it's
okay,
wrong.
But
it's wrong for him.
Okay,
let me just correct. It's
MBA.
wrong for him to make a statement, general statement, that the judiciary have made up their mind not to excuse and exonerate every person that is involved.
That's the impression he
has.
has.
But that is the wrong impression, sir. And I need to correct it.
Okay, but you're not the judiciary yourself.
Yeah, no. We are bench and bar. We are the same. Listen, it cannot be right. I am not in any way excusing corruption in judiciary. It does exist. But we must all join hands to ensure that we sanitize the stream of justice, and that is judiciary, because if the judiciary is polluted, the entire country is totally dead. So I am totally, I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, please, sir. No, let me, can I answer? It's important we support.
I hope you land with what you say about hundreds of millions of currency.
Was he charged for money laundering this thing? That's what I'm saying. You see, I must make this thing very clear, sir. If you don't bring any charge against somebody and charge somebody for a different thing and you fail to prove, you must prove every element of your allegation. That's what we're saying. If you don't charge me for having excess money in my and you charge me for a different thing, stealing, I mean, why you didn't charge me for money laundering and all that, and then you cannot succeed in proving stealing, how do you now hold me responsible, sir? That is what we're saying. So let's put these things right. We're not making an excuse for any crime or criminality.
I hear you.
Every criminal must be prosecuted. I mean, totally in support of fight against corruption. You should know.
So you find this phone that is not mine on me.
And I accuse me of stealing.
You've got to know what to charge me with.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I might walk.
Beautiful.
Madam Blessing, good morning.
Beautiful, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. God will help us in this country. We are too educated. We read more than the book that we are reading self. Do you know what, Mr. Yori? In the first place, when they went to the judge's house, is it not that they have something against him that they went there to arrest him? And they picked the money there. Or the house is CBN. Because me, I don't understand Nigeria. Each case, we have big grammar that we would speak, that we will flush them out. No case that we have ever done that we succeeded. They will bring this, they should have mercy now. For once, somebody should stand out and speak truth. Now, today, they've started now. That is how this case will just end. We'll somewhere exam. We will not see the results. No front, no back, no failure. God will assist us, so media trial. Jesus will assist us.
Okay, thank you, Madam Blessing. The judge, at the time, I remember, signed a confessional statement, but later on, to the NJC, he had explained, I think, in a letter.
I don't think it's a confession. He signed
a statement on that duress.
A statement.
No, you know,
but he later said he made this.
Let me explain.
Let me tell you that.
Let me explain what he signed.
He said he signed this thing with a gun to his head.
Can you hear me now? What he signed was the things they saw in his house.
Yes.
Or, you have to sign and all that. So
okay.
That's not his own confessional
statement.
Not a confessional
statement, but a list of the items recovered from his house.
All of you have become lawyers in this country.
We are armchair lawyers. Our own is armchair. Now, what you are saying is that it was a list, and I take that correction. Exactly. Thank you very much. Beautiful. I take that correction. Yes, not necessarily a confessional statement. Exactly, but he was later to explain that, well, you see, my lords, I had a gun to my head. So if they'd asked me to sign anything, I'd have signed it.
Now, you see, that was what I said earlier, that when you want to conduct a sting operation, it's always a neat job. I don't know why this happened like this. Basically, there must be a purpose why security agencies did this. Because the sting operation is basically for you to put a bait for a target or a victim to fall into that bit. Now, if they are judges and justices, there is nothing wrong in you organizing a marked money. Give to an unknown person. Follow it up at the point of collection. Yeah. Do your arrest. Yes, right. There will not be any media or public court at all
that will
acquit these justices. If you believe that they collected money and the money were in their hand, and you couldn't trace how the money was collected until the money was said to be under bed, for goodness sake, there's something wrong somewhere.
Okay.
Look,
and the fact that it is under bed, sorry, that one has to just wash away into the gutter.
No, that's not true.
No.
That's not what he's saying.
Now, I've got to bring in Samali. Hold your thoughts, sir. I'll bring in Samali, who's been waiting in Ojodu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Very good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my aged brother. Yeah, I think we have been able to bless him.
Yes, sir.
What it's all about.
That's right.
My question is, Justice Ademola, is he back in the bench now? I will be the child, because he was not dismissed.
He was not
acquitted.
He was not acquitted. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I think his question is is man free now?
Yeah.
He's not, because the EFCC has gone on appeal. Are you following me? And there will be court of appeal, and probably the matter may end up in Supreme Court, where the final pronouncement actually will be made as to his guilt or as to his innocence. So it's important we bear all this in mind. Does not mean that he has been discharged at the lower court. That is the end of the entire trial. That's the end of the matter. They are on appeal, and they have raised some issue that the judge himself, said while delivering judgment, that sounded as if he was a bit biased. Remember, that he made some statement and all that. So they felt these are issues that the judge shouldn't have said while he was conducting that trial. So they may succeed on appeal. They may not succeed on appeal. So, but let's be very, very, very patient concerning this. But sir, it's important we mention this because Nigerians need to know. We need to be developing expertise on investigation and prosecution. It's important because if you miss it at the level of investigation, there is nothing you present to the court at the level of prosecution. So that issue of, he said it. When the Englishman is investigating crimes, they would have collected all the evidence. They will get everything intact before they now move in and arrest.
And
so
that is the correct procedure.
Beautiful. So when they arrest you, sir, there is no way you can escape.
All right, then.
But we arrest and start looking for evidence.
So
that's always the problem.
Thank you very much. So we'll just keep an eye on the story. As you said, you wouldn't be surprised if the matter went all the way to the Supreme Court.
So for those,
the EFCC
so
has
before you
decided
conclude, please, those who are innocent, they have not charged some of the judges and all that. Please let them go back to work.
Okay.
Rather than asking them to remain idle at home, it's not necessary.
And we've got to leave it there. I think Tony is in concurrence with that position. But it's also been observed by Mr. George that you two are members of NBA, and we know the position of NBA until there was a public outcry.
What
you are being objective.
Is the position of the law.
Is the position of the
law. It behoves on security agency to do their work and do it very well.
Okay.
That's all.
So we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And also to remember what we started with, the NHS hacking Nigeria. We should notice that and just make sure that it doesn't. We do our damnness to make sure it doesn't happen to us. Thank you very much, Tony Ofoyeton and Barrister Onyekachi. Oh, sorry, they don't do barrister anymore.
It's Mr.
Lawyers don't do barrister anymore. It's just Onyekachi Esquire.
No, Mr.
Or Mr.
Esquire.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.